Enderman, the mob that packs the most punch other than maybe the Ender Dragon in Minecraft. So, if you come across one of these guys, how do you deal with them? So, here we are inside of Minecraft, and let's say you're in this situation, you're caving, and bam, you see an Enderman. Well, before we get into what to do, let's talk about what not to do. And the first thing is you don't stare right at them, because they get mad, and it's not a good thing, and so you just don't do that. When you get an Enderman mad, they will do this sort of animation thing, and they actually won't move until you look away. There's a chance that they'll teleport away, and then that'll break this whole like staring contest that you're having with the Enderman, and then he'll try to attack you. But if for some reason you look at him and you're like, crap, wasn't supposed to do that, well, you can continue to look at him, and you may even want to like hit F5 a few times to kind of look around and see what your options are. With this particular Enderman, I do know that I have some water and like I have some caves around here, but let's just go ahead and fight him. One of the reasons that Endermen are such a mean and difficult creature is because, you know what, I just realized that my difficulty set that to hard. There we go. Is because they hurt a lot, and they're really hard to kill, and they're also really mean because sometimes they'll like teleport. You'll be like, I got you right where I want you, and then they'll like teleport away, which is never fun. The other thing that you should not do whenever you see an Enderman is try to take them out from afar with a bow, because Endermen will always teleport away. It is impossible to hit them with a arrow. If you are in normal circumstances, you could like put them in a void world and there's only one block and they can't teleport away, and you could probably hit them with an arrow at that point. But under normal circumstances, hitting an Enderman with an arrow, normally all it does is upset them. This Enderman does not seem to... Oh, holy moly, that scared the heck out of me. Normally, Enderman will be aggravated by that, and so he's probably aggravated somewhere else, but every once in a while you get it, like we just got it, where he'll teleport away and they won't come back. So as long as you are avoiding looking at them and avoiding attacking them with your bow, what do you do if you actually see an Enderman and you do want to fight him? You do want to deal with him because maybe you want his Ender pearls so that you can make Eyes of Ender, or maybe you just want Ender pearls so you can, teleport around like crazy. Well, there are a few things to keep in mind, especially if you come across an Enderman when you are in this caving-like situation, and that is that Endermen are 3 blocks tall. So if you hide out in an area... What the heck? What is this world? That is 2 blocks tall, he won't be able to get to you. So you can stare at him, look at him, and then immediately retreat into your area that is 2 blocks tall, and he won't be able to reach you even with his massively long arms and his super loud yelling. So from this vantage point, we can attack him over and over and over again while he's just standing here. So make yourself a cubby hole, or of course you could always block up, you have some extra blocks. If you're out in the overworld and you see one, in a foresty area, you can also just build some cobblestone just like this and then stand underneath it. Obviously, this would be a problem because they'd be able to get there. So you'd want to make sure that there is no 3-high area around or inside of your ceiling. But let's say you're dealing with an Enderman in a more traditional situation when you're in the end, because there are Endermen everywhere here in the end, and this is a great place to farm Ender pearls. So same technique applies. You can either create that little ceiling for yourself, but do keep in mind that Endermen can pick up certain amounts of blocks, certain types of blocks, and cobblestone, I believe, is one of them. Let me look. Cobblestone is actually not one of them, so you'd be safe under cobblestone, but you would not be safe under dirt. So if you brought dirt into the end and wanted to create a hidey hole, there's a chance that these aggravated Endermen would actually pick up your dirt as just because they happen to be standing next to it and they can't pick up anything else in the end. And so you would be having a real sad day. That actually happened to me once, where I was hanging out and then all the Endermen started picking up my little dirt ceiling thing. Oh my gosh, you're still mad at me. I'm sorry. And it was terrifying because it really looked like they were tearing apart my safety structure in order to get at me. I had nightmares. Another thing to keep in mind is that endermen do not like water. If it is raining, they will teleport away. If they land in water, they'll teleport away. If you even use a splash potion of water, they will teleport away. And so if you're in a situation, especially in the end, where you want endermen to stay away from you, you can actually create water on the ground and they will never come at you. So we can even set these endermen all mad at me. And you can see that as they teleport up to the water, they either won't step into it, or if they get pushed into it, gosh, they're so loud. Holy moly. Okay, there we go. We turn them down just a bit. If they get pushed in the water, they will take damage and teleport away. So this is a great way. By the way, if you're dealing with this, I suggest making a little spot for you to stand so you don't actually push yourself into the endermen. And that way, well, hopefully. There we go. Let's get closer. There we go. Now we can actually reach them. That way you can hit them without any worry that they are going to hit you back. Now this is a little bit more annoying than the ceiling option, because if they hit the water, they'll teleport away. So sometimes you're like, oh, well, I wanted to fight you right there, but all of you teleported away. That was annoying. So I feel like the ceiling option is a little bit better, but this option is a lot better if you are looking for a sanctuary. If you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get away from all these endermen. There's just too many. They're all on top of me. I don't have time to build this crazy thing over here. Then you can set down water. Now, keep in mind that water will always flow in the path of least resistance. So if you put it down here, it's not going to create a big area until it gets down into this area. So it'll aim for that edge of that block, the edge that is closest. So if you put down water, try to put it down in a big open area or in an area that you know that it's going to flow and eventually create a nice space for you to have a sanctuary in. Another pro tip, most of you guys know this, is that a carved pumpkin, if you put it on top of your head, you can look directly at endermen and they are not upset. In fact, this is true with any type of transparent block. So if you have a glass in between you and an enderman, you can stare at him all day long and he will not get mad. He or, well, I guess it's an enderman. I was going to say he or she. But anyway, they won't get mad at you for looking at them if you are underneath a pumpkin or if you have some type of transparent block in between you and the enderman. Another pro tip is that if you are on Java Edition, you can hit F1 and that will hide your HUD, and that also gets rid of the pumpkin in your face. Now you could switch to a sword, know that you have your sword, and then attack like that. Or you can switch to your bow, like here, I think my bow is number 4, and you can still fire these things. You just don't have crosshairs to know where you're aiming. But if you are good enough, it's fine that you don't have your crosshairs. You can still sort of aim and hit stuff, especially if you're fighting the dragon. I think this, come on, we got this. We got this. We got this. Do we got this? There we go, finally. Okay, holy moly. So you could use that to sort of get rid of it in front of your face if you just want to have a good look around and not have the fear of endermen hitting you. Remember that all the techniques that I have mentioned work in any dimension. The enderman is the only creature that spawns in every single dimension. They spawn in the nether, they spawn in the overworld, and of course they spawn in the end. No other creature spawns in every single dimension. Now, the water technique obviously cannot be achieved in the nether, so sorry for you guys who want to do that in the nether because you can't place down water in the nether. Also, wherever you are, that too high technique will work, and specifically over here in the end, I have a specific way that I tend to like to deal with endermen, and that is to dig down, because normally I'm trying to harvest blocks anyway to go in between end islands, but you can create a little cave under here, make sure that it's only too high, and then you pop out, look at a few endermen, get a few of their attention, and then head back under. Oh my gosh, they're so mad. And I like this technique because it gathers them all in one spot. Sometimes your ceiling will have, 4 different edges, and so you have endermen trying to come at you from 4 different directions. And this way you can, especially if you have sweeping edge, but you can sort of use your sword to your advantage because your sword will attack multiple entities at once, and so this way they all are huddled in one location for you to smack over and over and over again, and it makes dealing with them a lot simpler. Also, all of your drops are going to be in one location, which is nice too. So creating a little cave for you to sort of watch out for these guys, that's one of my favorite ways to deal with endermen, and that works in the end, in the overworld, and in the nether as well. Finally, one of the last things that I want to mention is that this enderman that is holding that grass block is one of the main reasons that I feel like these are some good techniques, because you can get your first grass block. Uh-oh, that was the wrong guy. Now I have two of them after me. Oh my gosh, I might have to use my own techniques here. Because you can get that grass block whenever he dies. So he just died right there. Without a silk touch pick, this is a great way to get a grass block, and then I can, create a new farm or something, or put grass on a big floating island that I happen to have right over there, without needing to create a grass bridge over to that area. And on top of that, just whenever you see an enderman, especially early game, if you can deal with them, I would suggest that you do, because later on, if you want to go to the end, you're going to need lots and lots of ender pearls. And those are hard to come by in the overworld and in the nether. I feel like it's really nice to always, whenever you see an enderman, try to deal with him immediately. That way you can start to get a reserve of ender pearls. That way you can turn them into eyes of ender, get to the end portal, and actually end the game. And if you're sitting there ready to end, and you just don't have enough ender pearls, it's kind of lame. Hope you have enjoyed these tips and tricks on how to kill endermen. Thanks so much for watching this episode of OMG Craft. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a big old thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe for future videos, tips, tricks, tutorials, and spotlights here on OMG Craft. See you next time. Bye.